Hi, my name is Emily McCoy, and I am going to show you how to create a spine label for fiction and nonfiction books. So first of all, I have purchased Demco spine labels, and on the Demco website they have a template that you can download. So I have downloaded their template with the spine labels that I purchased, and now I am ready to create my spine labels. So I am going to show you how to do, first we're going to start with fiction. So fiction only has 2 lines. So you're going to basically click over here on the first one. You're going to make sure your caps lock is on. You want to make sure that Arial is your font and that you're at size 11. You can go up to 12, but I wouldn't do bigger than that. So you're going to type out the word fiction. You're going to hit enter. And for example, here is a fiction book called The Hero and the Crown by Robert McKinley. And I am going to, I've got caps lock on. So that would be the spine label for The Hero and the Crown by Robert McKinley. It's a fiction book, and the author's last name is McKinley. Now, I think I'm going to actually keep this at size 11 because just in case someone has a really long name, I want to make sure that it fits. All right, so that is the first one. Now, if you just click on the second one, you'll see that it's centered right there perfectly. So my next book. Now some librarians, now you'll notice that Calibri is the text. So I'm going to do Control All or Command A, and I'm going to pick Arial for all, and let's see if that worked. Yep, okay. So now you can see whenever I click on all of the cells, it says Arial. Arial is a very basic font. It's on most computers, and so that's why I picked Arial, and it's very easy to read as well. Now, some librarians will just do the first 3 letters. So they'll just do FIC for fiction, and then The Goose Girl by Shannon Hale, they would just do HAL. So you might see a lot of library books that have been donated to you that do it that way. But I have decided that for the Bookworms for the Philippines library, that it would be better to spell out the word fiction, especially because English is their second language. And it also helps the students actually alphabetize the books. So if they see a book out of place, they will actually put it back in the right place just because they can read the entire word. So The Goose Girl by Shannon Hale, that is the spine label for The Goose Girl. Now the next one is The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. So that is fiction as well. Press enter. Her last name is Brashares. So that is Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants by Anne Brashares. All right, then I have The BFG by Roald Dahl. So it is fiction, DAHL. All right, and my final book is Mr. Lincoln's Drummer. It is a fiction book, and the last name is Whistler, Wisler. All right, so that is how to create spine labels for fiction books. Now I have several piles of nonfiction books here that we are going to also create some spine labels for. The first one is a nonfiction science a few science books. So I'm going to type nonfiction, enter science, because I need to put that, the nonfiction is the section, and the category is science, and the author's last name, this is a rock and mineral book, and the author's last name is Farndon. All right, so I have another nonfiction science book here that is about the Earth. So I'm going to type science, and Van Rose is the author's last name. Okay, next book, nonfiction, science, Titmus. All right, my fourth book, nonfiction, science, Challoner. And my final nonfiction science book, nonfiction, science, Hirsch. All right, so that is how to create science nonfiction spine labels. All right, I also have some sports books here. They are also in the nonfiction section. So I'm going to go fiction, sports, and the author's last name is Van Seal. Oops, I need to push return. All right, here is a hockey book. All right, and then we have a football book here, nonfiction, sports, author's last name Colby. We have another nonfiction about golf. And the author's last name is Anderson. All right, and our last science book, not science, sorry, sports book, is about baseball, and the author's last name is Nicholas. All right, so that is how to create a spine label for a nonfiction sports book. So you'll notice with nonfiction that you always put the nonfiction, then the category that it goes in, and the author's last name. All right, the next that we're going to create for spine labels for is nonfiction history. Now the author's last name is Ten Boom, so it's 2 words. So on this one, I am just going to write T-E-N. I also could put Ten Boom all the way across. So as a librarian, you get to decide how you want that spine label to look. All right, the next one is about Pearl Harbor, nonfiction, history, and the author's last name is Stratton. So I want to make sure I'm spelling them correctly. All right, then we have our nonfiction. History. The author's last name is Hansen. Hartz is the last name. And my last book is Carnegie. All right, the last books I want to show you how to create a spine label for would be the biography section. Now, like we talked about in a previous video, this is a little bit different because biographies are about a particular person. So I'm going to do nonfiction because it's true life, things that really happened. I'm going to type biography, and then I'm going to do the person that the book is about. Okay, so for Anne Frank, I'm going to do Frank as the author's. It's not the author's last name, it's the person that it's about. Okay, nonfiction, biography, all right, and this book is about Joan of Arc. So I'm going to type, because she doesn't really have a last name, I'm just going to type the word Joan because it will be easier to find her. That's where I feel like my students will find her. All right, nonfiction. Now let's just say I'm tired of typing the word nonfiction over and over again, okay? Because I am doing biographies all on this line right here, I can actually highlight and I can do Control-C and then hit the next cell and hit the next cell and hit the next cell. So now I don't have to type nonfiction biography over and over again. All I have to do is erase and I can type who these books are about. All right, so this next nonfiction biography is about Martin Luther King. So I'm going to type the word King because that's the author or the person that it's about, their last name. And the last one I am going to do is about Abraham Lincoln. And I am going to type Lincoln because that is the book that this person is about. So that is how to create spine labels for fiction and nonfiction books. Thank you for watching and have a great day. And I'm going to show you how to put spine labels on a book. So first of all, in a previous video I have printed off the spine labels, and so I'm going to start with fiction. Put our nonfiction up here for a second. All right, so I have my 5 books that I have created these for. All right, and I'm going to look for the one that's Fiction McKinley. So I'm just going to peel that off. Now, when it comes to deciding exactly where to put a spine label, this is what I like to do. Okay, I take my thumb and I put it, trying to see where, I apologize, I'm just trying to figure out how to show this the best way. So I just put my thumb right there, and then I stick the spine label, so where the first 3 letters, so that the edge of the words are on that spine, and then I will wrap it around the front, because when I see the spine, I want to be able to read as much of it as I can. Okay. Now, the next one I need to find is hail. Okay, so here's fiction hail. So I'm going to take that sticker and I am going to do the same thing, do the thumb test. Now this is much bigger. This spine is much bigger, so I'm going to just center it and then wrap that around the edge. All right, the next one I'm looking for is brush hairs. So I'm going to peel that one off. Okay, I'm going to use the thumb test. Now the thumb test isn't perfect, but it will get it generally in the same place. Now you'll notice I made sure that that brochures is showing right there on the end. And then I'm going to wrap it around the front. Now I've got Roald Dahl right here. Now I also could take my books, and if I want them to be perfectly lined up, then I could take the book next to it and line it up just so, and pull this one away and wrap it around. And my last fiction book is this one. So I can do the same thing where I line up the bottom, match it just so, and then make sure that it wraps around. And that one I put a little too far over. It can be pretty forgiving, so if you lift it up right as you do it, you can reapply. Now, some people like them way low down here. So you have to decide as the librarian if you know, as you want everything to look the same. You decide exactly how you want that done. All right, now what I'm going to do is those labels are going to come off if I'm not careful. So I am going to use some book tape. And I have purchased this it's going to help me with my tape. So I am going to grab a roll of my book tape. I'm going to attach it onto, all right, so the nice thing about brand new tape is it's got this little tab thing. So I'm going to put this on the roll. I found this all right, now this little yellow guy right here, he helps me from cutting myself. So when I'm not using it, I can roll it up like this. But for now, I'm going to be using it. So I'm going to pull this tape across and I'm going to cut it off. All right, so now I'm going to take these books and I'm going to put a piece of tape over the top of this spine label. That way it will stay on there longer and it won't rub off. So I want to make sure that it's long enough to wrap around the book. So I'm going to carefully place that in the center, and then I'm going to wrap it around the front, make sure that's flat, and wrap it around the back. So now my spine label is protected and it won't peel off, and the students won't pick it off because... Alright, now I'm going to do that to my next book, BFG. I'm going to do something very similar. I'm going to make sure that there's enough tape on the top and the bottom to cover it up so that it can't get picked off. And then we'll do it again. Put it right there in the center. Wrap it around the front. Wrap it around the back. Just going to center it right there. And my last book is McKinley. So that is how I am going to put a spine label on the books. The tape protects the spine label. And now this book is ready to go on the shelf, alphabetized by the author's last name. So when it comes to nonfiction books, okay, you will do something very similar. So this one is a science book by Hirsch. So I'm going to take that particular label. Now this one already has a spine label on it, so I'm going to put my spine label on it instead. So I'm just going to put it right where the old one was. And I'm going to take my tape. Now on this one, because it's a hardback, this is a little bit different. It's got this kind of like edge thing on it. So you want to make sure that you push your thumb into that edge. And then when you wrap it around the back, you want to make sure you do the same thing, so that the tape is stuck kind of in that spine right there. So can you see how I did that? So that is how you do a nonfiction book. So it's very similar. And once you've put those spine labels on, they are ready to go on the shelf. So you can see I've got all these fiction books and this one nonfiction book. And that is how you put a spine label on a library book. Thanks for watching.